You can train consistently, you can eat really well, you can do everything right on paper and still feel tired, overwhelmed, disconnected, or even stuck. And whenever that happens, we tend to blame discipline, or motivation, or willpower, or ourselves, insert any buzzword here. But team, look, here is the truth. Your training and nutrition can only take you as far as your lifestyle allows them to go. Because your lifestyle is the container that holds all of your health behaviors. And if that container is cracked, if its sleep is broken, if stress is consistent, if relationships are strained or emotions are unprocessed, nothing sticks. When you look at someone living a truly healthy life, the kind that feels calm and stable and grounded, you're not just looking at their training, you're not just looking at their food, you're looking at the result of their lifestyle. And that's what today is all about. Today we are going to explore the 4 pillars that make every other part of your health possible: your sleep, your stress, your relationships, and your emotional health. These are the habits behind the habits, the anchors that make change sustainable and achievable. These are the reasons why some people finally feel well, while others feel stuck in cycles of burnout and self-blame. Team, this episode might not be what you expect, but it might be exactly what you need. Hey team, it's your coach Bart here. Welcome back to the Built Resilient podcast, and this is the final chapter of the Beginner Health series. In part 1, we rebuilt the way you think about training. In part 2, we simplified nutrition so it works with your biology instead of against it. And today, part 3, the one most people skip. The one that actually determines whether the first 2 parts are successful or they fail. Today's about lifestyle. Now, before we dive into the 4 pillars, I want to share with you a personal story, one that changed the entire trajectory of my life. And can I just say, this part of my story is a hard one to tell. It's one that I didn't want to address for a very long time until I met a very special person. There was a period in my life where my training, it was dialed in. It was perfect. My nutrition, it was just as dialed in. And I was strong, I was fit, I was disciplined, I was the whole fitness package. And yet, I was exhausted. I was numb. I was somehow disconnected, and if I'm honest, I was definitely burnt out. I was living on adrenaline and pure ambition, convinced that more stress made me more capable. Convinced that sleep was an optional extra in life. Convinced that emotions were just inconvenient, so I pushed them down. Convinced that I didn't need help or connection or any rest at all. I was living what I now call a high-performance collapse. Everything looked good externally, but internally, the wheels, they were falling off. And then Jane came along into my wife, and she saw something that I could not see, something that I didn't know even existed. She saw my fortress walls. These walls were tall, they were thick, they were ancient, they were strong. They were walls I had built unconsciously as protection. Walls made of my childhood patterns, my trauma, my identity, my conditioning. Walls built from years of just staying busy, staying tough, and staying numb. Because slowing down felt unsafe. Feeling felt unsafe. Letting people in, it felt unsafe too. And Jane would often say, "Bart, you've built walls so high you don't even know that they are there." And hearing that was very confronting, even more confronting to say out loud on a podcast, but in a way it was also very liberating. Because she wasn't telling me I was broken. She was just telling me I was protected. But protected in a way that was costing me connections, presence, softness, joy. She showed me a different way to live, a way where health wasn't just physical, but it was also emotional. It was relational, it was restful, it was human. That was my breakthrough moment. And today's episode is built on that realization many, many years ago. Training and nutrition are tools. Lifestyle is our foundation. Without it, everything else cracks. So let us be crystal clear here. It doesn't matter how clean your diet is. It doesn't matter how well you train or how perfect your program is. If your sleep is broken, if your stress is unrelenting, if your relationships are strained, and your emotional world is, let's face it, ignored, your body will show it. This isn't weakness, this is physiology. Poor sleep disrupts hormones and mood. Stress hijacks your nervous system and your recovery. Disconnection, it weakens your resilience. Emotional suppression becomes chronic tension. Your lifestyle is not a side quest. It should be the main quest. So let's explore these 4 pillars that make true well-being possible. The first pillar is the first pillar for a reason. It is sleep. This is the hormone reset button. Sleep, team, is not passive. It is metabolic, it's hormonal, it's emotional recovery. It regulates your hunger hormones, it stabilizes your blood sugar, it reduces your inflammation, it restores emotional regulation in your brain. Hey, it even improves your focus, your energy, your patience, and your resilience. Team, sleep is not lazy. We do not wait till we're dead to sleep. Sleep is leadership. Sleep is behavior speaking a language that your body can understand. And look, the reason why sleep is number 1, because it's the most important. If we simply move the needle on your sleep, every other aspect of your health will get better. And I know what you're thinking, but I sleep great. I get 5 hours a night and I feel fine. Fine is not what I'm after. I'm looking for exceptional. And the research backs up somewhere between 9 and 7 to 9 hours per night is what most people should be aiming for. Some people more, the vast minority a little bit less. Sleep's number 1. Remember that. Pillar number 2 is stress and managing stress. Stress is the silent saboteur in this modern world. And look, stress is not being busy. It's a physiological state where your nervous system shifts into survival mode. And survival mode shuts down your digestion, it slows down your recovery, it slows down emotional regulation, and it affects your motivation. And if we have chronic stress, it creates cravings, fatigue, anxiety, and burnout. Let's face it, it prevents growth, both physically, mentally, and indeed emotionally. And managing stress is not optional, it's foundational. And I know, again, you're going to go, Bart, I'm not stressed. Team, we're not just looking to get through. We're looking for you to thrive. And so even though you think you may not be stressed, in a modern world, there's stresses that we don't even comprehend just yet. And the more stress we have, the more recovery that is required. So don't just skip over this pillar. Don't just assume you've got this one picked. This could be the one that changes everything. Pillar number 3 is your relationships. Boys, do not tune out. Relationships are our nervous system regulators. Humans, they co-regulate. We do. Our nervous systems speak to each other. Your nervous system responds to the regulation of the people around you. Supportive, warm relationships can reduce cortisol. It can improve your mood. It can enhance your motivation. It can increase your longevity. Loneliness increases mortality. We know this. As much as smoking, some studies say. Team, connection is not soft, it is survival. And once again, boys, do not just shove this down into the depths of your being. Our relationships, they matter, even though it might be confronting to talk about or hard to communicate with. This is relationships with your partner, with your family, with your kids, but also with your friends. And Simon Sinek has now recently been saying, hey, it's not just a loneliness epidemic anymore, it's a friendship epidemic. We don't have any friends in our modern day world that we see every day or face to face anymore. Team, relational health. It's so important. And pillar number 4, speaking of things that can be quite confronting, is emotional health. It's the part we ignore, but it's the part that we feel the most. Unprocessed emotions, they don't disappear, they live in you. They become chronic stress, they become muscle tension, they become fatigue, irritability, anxiety, avoidance. And emotional health isn't just about doing mindfulness exercises and thinking positive thoughts. It's about being aware. It's about naming your emotions as they pop up and not ignoring them. It's about reflecting on them. It's about expressing your emotions in different ways. And these are skills that make your entire life easier. And it might be a case of, hey, if we don't do anything to address our emotional health, maybe we just haven't learnt these skills yet. But team, there is time. So we have our 4 pillars. We have our sleep, we have our stress management, we have our relational health, and we have our emotional health. Let's put all of these into a framework which I like to call the lifestyle ladder. And let's make it as simple as we can to promote consistency. The lifestyle ladder is a 3-rung model. It meets you where you are at and guides you upwards to that ladder, of which there are only 3 steps. And all we have to do is 1 step at a time. Each rung introduces a small new habit, not 5, not 10, just 1 to own, 1 to focus on. And by the time you're at the top of the ladder, you're doing 3 to maybe 5 tiny things every single day. And these things stabilize your entire life and look at your lifestyle as a whole and not just as one segment. Here is how it works. Rung number 1 is where I want everyone to start if you're not already doing this. The habit is simple. It's a 5-minute wind down anchor every single night. Why it matters? This single cue begins teaching your brain that rest is safe. It improves your sleep quality, it decreases cravings, it stabilizes your mood, it reduces those late night overstimulation fits that my kids somehow get. This is your foundation. It's simple. You cannot build a strong life without safety in your system and without a strong foundation. A 5-minute wind down practice. It can be whatever you want it to be. Rung number 2 is what we step up to once we've done rung number 1 and made it our own, made it a habit. The habit is 1 60-second pause each day. That is it. A single moment to breathe deeply, to reset, to interpret stress before it becomes chronic. And look, this one's important. This tiny pause, it lowers your cortisol. It's physiological. It increases clarity and prevents overwhelm from accumulating. It strengthens your ability to respond to life instead of just reacting to it. 60 seconds of conscious breath work, conscious reflection. And then rung number 3 is all about expansion. The habit is 1 authentic check-in every single day with yourself or with someone else. It can be a message, it could be a journal line, it could be a conversation, it could be a moment of honesty. And why this one matters is that connection dissolves emotional pressure. It softens your fortress walls, which I've had to learn the hard way. It builds resilience and genuine well-being. And I think we can all relate to this one, where we've had a problem at our work day or in our life and we simply just told someone about it, and all of a sudden that weight on our shoulders just felt a little bit less because we had that co-regulation, we talked to someone, we shared a moment of nervous system familiarity. And that helps, it really does. It does soften those fortress walls. So team, 3 rungs, 3 simple habits. That is all I ask as a starting point. The first is 5 minutes winding down at the end of the day. Once you've owned that, we move into 60 seconds of reflection, of conscious thought, of conscious breathing. And then we move into connection, reaching out to someone or reflecting with ourselves, sending a message, writing in our journal. These 3 things seem so petty and so woo-woo, but team, they work, and they work time and time and time and time again. So put aside whatever preconception you have about this mindfulness and this lifestyle stuff and give it a go. Because I can guarantee some good things will happen because of it. And team, let's be honest for a second here. I know all this stuff sounds great, looks great on paper, but it is easier said than done. And look, here's why all of this can be so hard. And if you are struggling, it's not because you're flawed. You're not struggling because you're broken. You are struggling because modern society overwhelms every biological system that we have. Let's think about it for a second. Constant notifications keep your brain in alert mode. Screens disrupt your sleep architecture. Work follows you home, into your bed, into your mind, always in the palm of your hand. And we glorify being busy. We treat rest as a reward, not a requirement. And loneliness is rising even though we are in the most connected portion of humanity. Team, emotions are being suppressed and they're not being expressed. There's a reason why all of this is so hard. Your body simply wasn't built for these types of stresses. Your nervous system wasn't designed for this. Your emotional world wasn't meant to be ignored. This is why lifestyle habits matter. They matter the most. They're not nice to haves. They are acts of rebellion against a world that burns you out by default. Lifestyle habits return you to yourself, to your clarity, to your grounding, and to your humanity. So here is my sincere challenge to you. Over the next 7 days, you are going to climb the lifestyle ladder. I want you to do it slowly, intentionally, and compassionately. In days 1 to 2, I want you to stabilize. I want you to choose your wind down anchor. 5 minutes, that's all I ask. Do it at the same time every single night before bed and let it signal your body to say, hey, it's safe to rest now. In days 3 to 4, as an extension, I want you to strengthen. I want you to add that 60-second pause somewhere in your day. Set a reminder on your phone if you need to. I want you to stop. I want you to breathe. I want you to let your body unclench. I want you to let your shoulders just drop, your jaw to soften. And I want you to teach your system that I can interpret overwhelm. I can listen. And then in the following days, at the end of the week, days 5 to 7, I want you to expand. I want you to add the daily authentic check-in. Send a message to someone. Have that moment. Have a journal line. Write it down. Have a conversation face to face. I want you to show your body and your mind that I don't have to carry everything alone. I can co-regulate. I can share. And then team, by the end of the week, you won't just be doing habits. You'll feel different. You'll feel calmer. You'll feel clearer. You'll feel more grounded, more connected. You will feel more you. So team, I want to leave you with this today. You remember those fortress walls that Jane showed me? Walls so tall that I didn't even know existed. Maybe you have those walls too. Walls built from overworking, walls built from perfectionism, walls built from stress or numbness or fear. Or maybe you know someone living behind walls of their own. If this episode opened something in you, if it softened something in you, I want you to share it with them. Because lifestyle habits don't tear down those walls, they simply soften them. They create tiny little cracks where the light gets in. They make room for connection, they make room for rest, for presence and humanity. Training can build your body, nutrition fuels your body, but lifestyle builds you. It builds your identity. It builds your emotional world. It builds your resilience, your relationships. And it builds your ability to show up in this world with more clarity, compassion and capacity. Team, the Beginner Health Series, Training, Nutrition and Lifestyle. It wasn't designed to make you perfect. It was designed to make you whole. And I sincerely hope you took something from one of these 3 episodes. Team, my name is Bart Walsh and this is the Built Resilient podcast, and this is just the beginning of more content that will level up your emotional, physical and mental resilience, and I am honoured to be the person leading the charge in this message. If you did take something away from today's episode, do give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast or Spotify, or give us a like or a share or a subscribe on YouTube. Push this message out into the interwebs, because we need more positivity, we need more content that builds us up and doesn't just make us compare our lives to someone else. Team, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode. Remember to choose resilience. Bye.